Hey guys, what is up? It is No Help and welcome back to another video today. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about the release date of the evolution of combat. Now, to be completely honest with you, this is one of the weirdest feelings that I've ever felt because everyone at my school and everyone that I knew that played Runescape was like, yeah, the game's going to die now. I'm not going to play the game anymore. I'm quitting. And that's all that I heard. But I was like, I'm not ready to quit this game yet. I love this game. You gotta remember, I was like 13 years old at the time when this actually came out. And I've already invested 2 to 3 years of my life playing this game. And I loved every aspect about it. So basically, I gave it a chance. And back then, I was a skiller, not a killer. And I would just be, training mining or say fishing or whatever. And I'm like, nothing's changed. Guys, this is fucking awesome. I can drag the fish onto my ability bar and drop them instantly. And I'm like, nothing's changed. You know what I mean? Like, literally nothing's changed. You gotta remember, I was like 60, 70 combat at the time. I was a skiller and I had just a bunch of 99s and skills. Never even really touched combat pre-EOC, which really makes me sad that I didn't do that, because combat is one of my favorite things in the game now. But basically back then, I didn't really understand why all my friends were quitting the game. All my high school friends that they showed me the game, they were quitting. All my online friends that I made at the time, they were quitting the game as well. And it was really sad because I kind of just felt like it was turning into a single player game where I was the only one online. And I know there was a couple people that would come up here and there. I'd see them chop trees, I'd see them at the Grand Exchange and stuff like that, but like I wasn't talking to any of them, so it kind of felt like a really lonely game. Haha, Iron Man's a thing now. It was pretty much like the summer at the time, and usually throughout the summer I would not talk to my friends as much. This was before like having insane phones like Samsungs or iPhones that you could just connect to your friends at all times. This was before Discord. This was before a lot of communication, right? So like, the communication I would have would just be regular text messages or more so RuneScape chatting for my RuneScape friends, right? But none of them were actually online at the time. But I was still like in love with this game. I loved the game so much, and I was just like, I'm gonna continue this game. My friends are gonna come back. It's not that bad, but they never did come back. And basically what I did is I ended up like getting a bunch of skills maxed to 99. And I eventually was to the point where I realized none of my friends were coming back, and I was like, we're gonna try combat out. And it's kind of weird because I never really did combat pre-EOC. So basically my first experience with combat on the evolution of combat anyways was I tried to do a Slayer task. I got a Slayer task and it said go kill water fiends, and today I look at that like, yeah, immediate cancel. But I did it on the evolution of combat, and I looked up a video, how do you kill water fiends in RuneScape 3? And they said to bring a salamander and you get this much range experience per hour and you get this much charms per hour and blah blah blah. And I fell in love with the combat system at water fiends. So you got to keep in mind though, I never really got to experience the combat system in regular RuneScape. I'd kill a couple cows, I did this, I did that for a quest or whatever. I understood the combat system, but I didn't know the mechanics. I didn't know anything about prayer. I didn't know about movement. Nothing like how it is on old school today. So you got to remember, I'm just like very invested in this game, and then I do something that gives me charms, and charms are for a skill I really wanted to train, which was summoning. And yeah, killing water fiends gave a shit ton of charms back in the day. So I remember going into the ancient whatever it was, where you catch barbarian fish, you jump into the pool there, and I would just sit there all day with my black salamander and just shooting tar at all of these freaking water fiends. And I was like, yeah, the evolution of combat isn't really that bad. I'm getting consistent kills, I'm making a lot of money, and I'm getting a lot of charms. And I made so many charms that I was easily able to get 99 summoning as well, which was a huge W for me because I always wanted things like the pack yak and the baby dragon pet that you got for getting 99 summoning. So like, it was just one of those things where it's like, I never saw the downfall of it because I was actually having fun with it at the time. But you got to remember, I never actually played the original combat. Now, I've been maxed my Ironman account right now for the past year and a half, and pretty much all I have done was PVM, bosses, raids, and I've just learned so many different things about the old school RuneScape combat system, the mechanics of it, using prayers, using movement, using timing, and learning the tick system. So if I knew all of this back in the day, and I gotta remember back then there really wasn't too many bosses for me to tackle, but if I knew what I did now, if they randomly right now, and I'm trying to look at myself as in other players' perspectives when they did release the evolution of combat, if I loved combat this much as I do right now in old school RuneScape, and they released the evolution of combat, I would have 100% quit the game. I really do understand why all my friends quit the game now, because most of them were into either combat or PvP, and it completely changed this with one system update. It just ruined everything that they've come to know for the past like 10-15 years, and just completely ruined it, right? And the way that I play old school RuneScape now basically is the way that they did back in the day. So I kind of realize why they wanted to leave this, because it was completely different. It wasn't the same game. Also, it wasn't really easy to learn at release. You had to like randomly click the abilities on the bar. There wasn't all this auto stuff they added later on. There wasn't a legacy mode, which they added later on. It was kind of like you just had to know and do this, and this was combat for the rest of the game. And it's like, fuck. It's weird because like even back then, if I was like the president or the CEO of Jagex back then, I don't know how they didn't see that this was like a huge issue that players wouldn't want. I realized that like their biggest concern was like combat needs an update, and by combat needs an update, it means we want more bosses in the game, we want more challenges. The actual combat system itself was fine, like, and they've proven that with old school. Like, good luck doing the Inferno. You can do every single boss on RuneScape 3, but try the Inferno on old school RuneScape. Good luck to you, my friend. It's one of those weird ass things where the really easy basic combat system can actually be so complex if they really delved into it and realized what the players actually wanted, rather than completely changing it to try and compete with World of Warcraft. Like, really? What the fuck? We're playing RuneScape for a reason. I'm kind of lucky that I started the game in 2009 before the actual genuine old school, and I feel like that's the reason why I still play the game today, right? Because I played the game and I had the little bit of the old school feeling with the HD graphics, keep in mind, right? And then when the evolution of combat released and all my friends quit the game, and like everyone quit the game, and all the YouTubers quit the game, and everyone did, right? I was like, I still really like this game, and I played it, and I played it, and I played it, and less I played it. Then all of a sudden, old school RuneScape gets released, and I'm like, I don't want to play that shit game with those shit graphics, right? Because I was used to the HD version of the game. So I stuck with RS3 or whatever it was called back then, the evolution of combat, for a little bit. Eventually just ended up quitting the game, playing like Minecraft full time or whatever it was. And then I was like, I like the actual game RuneScape. I will get over these graphics. And I started an old school RuneScape account. And I played it for about a year. I got a couple 99s, and I had a pretty good account. Had like 200-300 million GP bank. And I'm like, yeah, this isn't enough. And then they released the Ironman game mode, and that's where I've been hooked ever since. And I don't care about the graphics anymore. I've grown to love the 2007 graphics, and I started playing the game with the HD graphics. So I've learned to love the game for what it is. You know, like I like to feel progress and feel like I'm actually doing something. And especially with combat, something I never really experienced before, I like the way the combat is in the game. I like the way that it's movement based, it's actual skill based, mechanic based, and there's a lot of different things you have to do, like switching prayers, switching gear. I like that. We don't need an ability bar. We don't need to be World of Warcraft. We are RuneScape for a reason. And this is why the evolution of combat was the worst update to ever happen to RuneScape. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. I will catch you in the next one. See ya later.